American Nomad News in Koppel. We're heading for a coffee place called Golden Boy Coffee. Should be an interesting thing to check out. Hello. Oh my goodness, it smells nice in here. Nice minty green everything.
You say minty? I just made a peppermint mocha. Nice. Alright, and there's the eggnog. Thanks.
Serendipity is interesting.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. You guys have a wonderful day.
Are you next?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Alright.
Go. I got time.
No, not sweet at all. So I'll take that. Okay. Okay, yeah. Yep, okay, yep. Very good. How far are you traveling? This one's big, yeah. Okay. I can see it's a little hotter to hold. That'll be great. Okay. Yeah. All right. It's gonna be 10:01 altogether.
There was a coffee place in Seattle
Yeah.
that was, I forget the name of it, but everything was a mockery of religion. And they had this huge collection of crosses all over the walls.
Okay.
And in the bathroom, they wallpapered it in old woodcuts from like scary stuff from the Middle Ages.
Okay.
And then did a translucent red wash over the whole thing. And put a coin-operated disco ball in the ceiling of the bathroom.
Nice.
And the toilet was black ceramic.
I like the disco ball. That's a good one.
You put a quarter in there, and it played Disco Inferno for a couple minutes while it did the thing, which is a truly surreal experience to use the bathroom in that fashion.
Yeah. Like, wait, I've been here. No. I just watched a documentary about Studio 54.
Yeah. How was that?
It was pretty cool. I wish there were discotheques around still.
You know, there's this really weird history about, and yeah, I'm filming for American Nomad News. Nobody sees it, so don't worry.
I just saw it caught my eye.
It's a 360 camera. I've been playing around with it.
Nice.
It makes a really warped, bizarre image because I don't have the editing capacity to do the 360 on YouTube.
Okay.
I found out way too late that you have to like process it first. But yeah, there's this weird history about power dynamics in art culture in America. It turns out there's mob connections.
There's the golden chai. Mom connections, you said?
Yeah, it's like, you know, the mob isn't all like this negative Hollywood stereotype. A lot of it was different families from different parts of the world, and you know, they came in with heavy motivation and built power bases for themselves and protected their own communities and established their own policy. And if you didn't like their policy, too bad.
Yeah. That sounds like it was alright.
And Hollywood and the art establishment during a certain period was kind of ran by the gay mob. And there really is a gay mob, turns out. Not everything they did was negative. A lot of it was protecting their own interests. But some of it was pretty, like, you know, tough on the street corner type stuff. And it was kind of like the union of artists. You had to be in the mob or, you know, cooperative with them, or you didn't get to do art.
Huh, how about that?
Yeah. And that's part of the whole Studio 54 and a lot of those kind of phenomenon, is that they were deeply tied into those cultures.
Here's the latte for you. Here's the chai and the latte. You're welcome. Alright. Well, what can I get started for you?
Drip coffee, please.
Drip? Yeah, do you want 8, 12, or 16 ounces?
16, of course.
Okay.
Hi, good morning. How you doing?
Alright. Is that going to be it?
Yeah.
Alright, 314.
Okay.
Have a 5.
But that's actually, that whole culture is kind of opening up around the world. Because you see a lot broader capacity to produce art. It probably helps that there's a lot of laws to protect, you know, the community that in the past had to rely on their own members to kind of watch out for each other.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that, the mob and the art culture.
It's pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So what can you say? How are the girls made?
Do what?
How are the crystals cut and made?
She does like a French toast style like mix, and then pours the batter into like cupcake tins, and then it bakes up like that.
There was a big riot in New York, a protest, and it centers around like the rainbow flag, and some of that stuff is part of that history.
Okay.
And there were some people, they were getting, you know, kind of roughed up a lot of times because of the way they wanted to live their lives. And then
Hey, I'm gonna
things
finish
happen.
his order, and then we can chat.
I'll head out. I don't want to break up your awesomeness, but you have a lovely day.
Thank you too.
Remember last time I saw them?
Oh my goodness. Bright blue eyes.
Yeah,
They just pop, don't they?
a husky sort of mix.
Oh my goodness. And here's the friendly one. Can I say hi? He says, you're gonna say hi, or I'll just lick you or something. I'm such a dog fan. I love the mean ones as well as the nice ones. My brother's in-laws in Alaska, they had this little tiny, compact, muscular, meaty little female dog with like this short, harsh, wiry, coppery hair. And there was a little like love seat, 2-seat kind of couch. She would sit right in the middle, and if you tried to sit in that couch any way but like really slow like this, she would. I had so much fun trying to tame her. I ended up, finally, after like a week and a half, I got her in my lap, and I was allowed to pet that spot right here. And she would just kind of growl a little bit. But she,
So like you
like, just.
got the little ones they can be harsh.
There's this inverse proportion of passion to size. Right? The littler they are,
Yeah.
they're like a giant sky-covering, flaming dragon on the inside. And these guys, hi there. The bigger they are, they're just sweet. Yeah. Well, you know, if she's jealous, it's because she didn't come over and say hi. It's her own darn fault. I find black labs to be permanent puppies most of the time.
Yeah, she's pretty playful.
Hey.
Celosa.
So how are you guys doing today?
We're doing good. Fantastic, man. How are you?
All thanks to God, pretty good.
All right.
I've been hiking across country since 2012.
On the way.
And I just started a very horrible YouTube channel called American Nomad News. And most of it's filmed on this 360 camera, which I'm using right now. It's blinking, it's on, but nobody can tell what you look like anyway. It's a 360, it's a fisheye lens, and I don't have the computer software or the hardware to process it into the 360 navigable view. So it comes out as flattened disc,
Interesting.
right? So if I'm carrying it like this, like my body curves around one side. And my head's really big and like whatever's on this side's super skinny, and then my leg is flipping out here like this. It's just hilarious. And I've got a waterproof thing, I can stick it underwater, and then everything looks kind of normal.
What?
Yeah.
There's a water.
And I can see fish and stuff. But I've been having fun with it. I've done really long, like 300-400 mile hikes and a couple of almost 1,000-mile hikes. I went 930 from Fort Lauderdale to Lafayette, and I did about 1,000-ish. I haven't done the math on it yet. From Tempe, Arizona, starting out 107-degree temperatures. Hiked Interstate 10 out, crossed 300 miles of desert to LA, up Highway 1, curved inland a little bit to San Luis Obispo, up over the 1,500-foot mountain,
Oh, wow.
and caught a bus on the other side and went to Idaho. And in a lot of those hikes, I just didn't have a camera or anything, and I wanted to film it. And I'm learning now that you have got to have a lot of memory.
Yeah, for video.
And I didn't factor that in very well. And now I've just got a bunch of SD cards, like 5 or 6 of those. And I've filled them up, put them on the web, deleted them, filled them up again a couple of times. And at first, because I didn't have a phone, I couldn't put anything online over 15 minutes. And I've got some videos that were like 15 minutes, 45 seconds. And I'm like, damn! Because they won't let you upload it without a phone number. And now I got a phone number attached to it, but then Google kicked me off. I'm like, come on, really? It's because Google is paranoid, and because I don't have my own computer, I don't have my own IP, and I go to public libraries, and they don't do it consistently. They don't do it every time I change my IP, but every few months, Google just throws me out of my own account because I must be a hacker because I'm changing IPs. I'm like, you idiots, I'm just fucking broke. If it was a bot, it would be more consistent. I think it's some dingbat that says, looks at a pattern and says, this guy can't be for real. I've gone 1,000 miles. Every 15, 20 miles is a different IP, and they're all libraries. But I don't think Google can tell what a library is.
They probably don't know how to.
Either that or the librarian puts a flag on it. Because there's actually this whole thing with Homeland Security in the libraries. A lot of people don't know they see everything you're doing. I can prove it too. I'll tell you how you do it. You go in for like a few days in a row and you just look at lots of mundane stuff that's not controversial on the liberal side at all, right? And then you start looking up pro-life and Republican leaders and books that the libraries censor because they do. And just watch the librarians, right? Like the day before, they're all like, whatever, they're going about the business, no reaction whatsoever. You start pro-life and abortion politics, and you're watching the library, and you're like, ah!
Like the librarians can copy like your.
They totally can.
I really understand.
It was predicated on a security after 9/11,
A public space that you have access
as if homeless hippies are a threat.
to. To them, maybe they are.
They're the only threat that homeless hippies are to society is the drugs that they really shouldn't be selling. But yeah, homeless hippies don't blow shit up. Rednecks blow shit up. And rednecks don't blow up business buildings. That's CIA guys talking. uneducated Arabs into flying airplanes.
That's all I want to do. Travel.
You want to travel?
Yeah, our main goal was to like buy a cargo van and build it as a
Like just a house? Yeah. I've been going on foot.
That's impressive.
There's a really awesome hike you can take from Pittsburgh to DC. It's 300 miles. It's actually two separate trail systems, but they're basically in line with each other. And it's the Allegheny and C&O trails. I really recommend it. Every few miles there's a town. There's little shelters and park benches along the way that you can camp out. You can bring just a backpack and a tent and some money if you can afford it. And you can just buy your food as you go instead of carrying it and have an awesome time. I hiked the whole thing, 300 miles in about a week. And it was great. It was awesome. It was beautiful. Some of the most beautiful country I've seen. There's a park I tell people about all the time because the Apollo astronauts practiced there in the 60s. And it's called Craters of the Moon National Monument in southeast Idaho. There's no snacks down there. There's no snacks. Hi there. Hi there. He says there's no snacks. No snacks for you. Yeah, travel is. I tell people all the time, you know, if you're living in China, you don't get to travel. You're living in Russia, even, you know, South America or Africa. In Europe, you're still restricted a little bit. But in the U.S., we can travel wherever we want, and we don't. And it keeps us from appreciating the amazing country that we live in and the amazing cultural elements and unity that we have.
That's why we moved to Colorado Springs, because we want to be close to nature.
I think it's great to spend time in the cities, spend time in the country, bounce around, see different places, learn different foods, and one of the things I pay attention to as I'm walking along is how do they do drainages and infrastructures and bridges? They're different. Every state has different ways of solving the same problems.
Yeah,
And it's interesting.
like New York has a different architect because they do everything so well, smooth spaces.
Yeah. You look at Florida. Florida is like, most of Florida is 1 or 2 feet above sea level. The entire state, right? And so they have a lot of water issues. Groundwater is the water is right below the surface everywhere. So what they did was they built lots of ponds and canals to have some place for the water to go. And they've got alligators and turtles and all kinds of snakes and everything, and they just live with them.
Yeah, I used to live in Tampa, Florida.
And one of the things they did that was really interesting is for erosion control. Like out here you see a lot of gabions, the wire baskets full of rocks. And there what they did was they took this heavy canvas and quilted it, right? And they lay it on an embankment, and they pump concrete into the inside of this quilted canvas, and it puffs up and it looks like a big heavy puffy quilt, but it's concrete and it lays right where it stays, and nothing erodes. It's just really strong, and the canvas will disappear eventually, and it has this quilted looking concrete. Gee, you get the feeling they like each other.
still got it.
Just see Marley's like, I drink all the water already.
Knocked most of it out.
Yeah, those definitely.
Yeah,
She just like
knocked
knocked
it out.
over the whole thing. Irresponsible.